Hi everyone, welcome to the Recipe Organization Workshop. We are live now, and I just want to welcome everyone here and thank you for being here. And I'll give everyone maybe like a minute or two to get settled so that you can feel prepared and ready for this workshop. And I want to let you know that below this video is a downloadable workbook that you can use to work through this workshop today. And below that, there is a chat box. And you can interact with each other during this workshop and get to know one another in the chat box if you'd like. And at the end of the workshop, I will be having like a little Q&A time. So if you guys have any questions about the content that I covered or any other questions that you'd like to ask, you can ask in the chat box and I will either answer in the chat box or answer by talking to you. And I do think this video feed is like maybe like 30 seconds behind or something, so there's a little bit of a lag. And I just wanted to let you know that too. So if you hear me asking questions that I've already like moved on to different content, just hold tight because the video should catch up with what you're learning. So I'm going to share my screen for a minute. And let's see. And we are going to go over to the workbook page and you'll take a look at that. All right. Okay, now hopefully you guys can see that workbook. And this is what we'll be going through today. You can work through it with me while I walk you through it. You can work through it later and just listen now. Whatever you would like to do. If you'd like to take notes in another notebook, we can do that too. I think I'll go for about half an hour today, and then with a little time at the end for chatting and catching up, which will be great. And then you'll be organized with recipes. You'll have some great ideas and strategies to start in on this new year to help you be healthier in the way that you cook and give you some strategies to just have more fellowship in your life. All right, and if you're just joining us now, here's the workbook. That's what I'm presenting to you guys right now. That's what you can see. And I'll hop back on in just a minute so you can see my face. And down below the video and this presentation right now, you'll see a chat box that we can use to interact with each other at the end of the workshop, and you can connect with each other right now. With each other in that chat box, get to know each other. And also, the workbook download is available on this page if you haven't done that already. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. There's several people here watching already, so I am going to stop screen sharing. And I'm going to turn myself around so you can see me again. There I am. All right. Hi, Lori. Lori's here. I'm just going to say hello to Lori. Merritt's here too. Great. All right. Well, this year, I really want to help you have a healthier year. And I think we can do that through having a really good collection of organized recipes. And I also want you to have more good fellowship this year, and sometimes I think like we don't necessarily invite people over because, oh, I don't know what to make them. So having a good organized collection of recipes is really going to help you with this year. And I want you to know that I am doing this right along with you. Oh, it looks like Rebecca's here. Great. I'm doing this with you. I have a massive amount of recipes and cookbooks, and it is so disorganized. So I thought, you know, I could really use this, and I'm sure that you guys could too. So let's start here. This is my recipe box from 10th grade from my health and nutrition class, and I can't believe how old it is. And there are 102 recipes in here, and I've cleaned out 60 of them already. That is incredible. Ones that I will never make and that are pretty disgusting sounding. And here's the worst one. Peanut butter soup. Heat 1 pint of milk to a boiling point. Put in 1 tablespoon of peanut butter and stir until it is no longer lumpy. Season with salt and pepper. And this is the part that just makes me laugh super hard. Serve with cubes of toast or a few cracker crumbs. I'm not sure if I made that up in 10th grade or if I found it somewhere, but that is terrible and that does not need to be in my recipe collection. The next one is parsnip fritters. I hate parsnips, so I'm not sure why I have this recipe. It makes no sense. And then another gross one that I found was sauerkraut casserole. 1 can of sauerkraut, 1 can of tomato soup, 1 pound of onions, ½ cup rice. Cook for 1 hour. That makes no sense, and it sounds disgusting, so I am not going to be making that. So it's good to clean out all the junk that you don't need, and I just wanted to give you that example of like I'm in the same spot as you guys, and I want to like work along through this process with you. So I'm going to screen share again and flip back over to the workbook. So we're going to start working through the workbook, and if you're just hopping on now, the workbook is down below the video, and then there's a chat box down below that you can hop on and interact with each other throughout this. So I am going to share my screen. All right, let's get started. Oh, I stopped it again. Let's go back to that recipe organization workbook. There we go. Okay. I like that Merritt says in the chat box, no, peanut butter soup. Yeah, Lori, maybe you should make a cute plastic top for your recipe box. Glad you're here, Amber. Okay, this first page is just a welcome and an introduction, help you know a little bit more about me and let you know that I would love to connect with you after this workshop. And this is how you can connect with me right here. And then in today's workshop, I am going to help you understand like the purpose of organizing your recipes. We'll create a process for organizing and then using your recipes. I want to teach you how to be selective so that we're not amassing so many recipes that we'll never use. And then I've left some space at the end of the workbook for you guys to brainstorm more and just write down your ideas of how you want to organize your recipes and what that will look like for you. Let's go ahead and move to page 2. All right. We're going to start with this introduction. My friend Jessica, she was my suite mate in college, and she described her recipe collection as flyaway scraps of paper. And if that's our method of like collecting recipes, and I'm so guilty of that, sometimes we just don't use them because they are so messy and disorganized and all over the place. So I found this quote, and the author is super strange. I don't know if I believe all the stuff that they write, but I really appreciated this quote. It says, "It is important to view a recipe book as one that you use daily and what we in our family call a living book, a book that you use all the time, not just read once and discard on the shelf." So if you think of the purpose of organizing your recipes as a way to shape and nourish yourself and shape and nourish your family, a way to build traditions and connect with people around the table, and a recipe book, or maybe it's a box or a binder, they can help you keep memories of the things that you make and connect around the table with, and that is food. So there's deeper purpose for organizing your recipes. And I want you to think about like what will organizing your recipes do for you and for your family, and even maybe like for your friendships and for your community. So you can take some time and write some thoughts down right now. You can save it to the end. But let's go on to page number 3 of the workbook. The main purpose of why I'm hosting this workshop, and hopefully you'll come up with your own purpose as well. I want you guys to have a healthier year, and I want to have a healthier year. And if we're cooking from a base of really good, nutrient-dense, awesome recipes, we're gonna have a healthier year. And if we're cooking from crappy recipes, like I showed you in the beginning, like peanut butter soup, I mean, that is, one, gross, we're not gonna feel like eating, and it doesn't sound very nutritious. So we're gonna have a healthier year by just gathering this collection of good recipes, weeding out the ones that are bad for us, that don't make any sense. And then that in turn will hopefully lead to longer health for us. Another purpose of why I'm hosting this workshop is I really hope that it will help us have more fellowship. And one of the reasons I hear a lot of people not inviting people over is because they say things like, oh, I don't even know what to make. I can't have people over. I haven't tried this recipe. What if it's a disaster and like the chicken isn't cooked when everyone comes over? I can't serve that to friends yet. And so I think having good recipes makes us feel more confident and helps us to have better fellowship with people because we are okay with inviting them over. And a note that I want to make here, someone asked that I share some gluten-free recipe ideas so that they could have friends over who have gluten sensitivities. And one of the things I love making for my gluten-free friends is chili and gluten-free cornbread. Another easy meal is like you throw chicken and salsa in a crock pot and then just heat up some corn tortillas. That's very gluten-free friendly. And you could do chicken and rice soup. You wouldn't need to serve like crackers or anything. You could also try like a pork or a beef roast with potatoes and carrots, or even like a quiche without a crust. There's a lot of options. And so by just amassing recipes that will help you feed people with different dietary needs, it's awesome that you'll be able to have more fellowship. And the last purpose is less clutter. So feel free to be like taking notes throughout this section if you find anything useful. I don't know about you, but having 60 recipes in my recipe box that I do not look at and do not want to cook from, it just confuses me when I am actually looking for a recipe. And I get this thing called like option fatigue. There's too many options, so I feel overwhelmed. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what recipes to choose. So maybe I think, oh, frozen pizza sounds like a great option. And when I look over at my cabinets and my recipe boxes and my drawers and everything full of recipes and recipe books and binders, I get so flustered because it's not even pretty to look at and it's overwhelming. So the more we can remove the clutter from our collections, the more fun we're going to be having cooking, because it will be a joy to look through our recipes and not a burden. So we're going to clear the recipe clutter. Merritt says she's inspired to try new things when she invites people over, but sometimes it can backfire. I totally understand that. Thanks for that tip, Lori. Yeah, we need to watch out for the roux, the flour and the butter, to thicken chicken and rice soup. It's a good idea to use like cornstarch or even like potatoes blended up a little bit can make a chicken and rice soup a little bit thicker without the flour. Amber says, isn't it funny how we can forget how to cook? Yes, I struggle with that too. Even though I love cooking, sometimes I forget. All right, let's move on to page number 4. And if you're just joining us, I want to let you know that I'm helping all of us create a process, one that works for you and one that you love, to organize your recipes. And I want to help you be able to work that process. Okay, on page number 4, we need to clean out our stashes of recipes. And we can kind of think of it like organizing a closet or a wardrobe. So what pieces of clothing, aka recipes, have you not worn in a long time, also known as have you not cooked from in a long time, or have you never tried? Those are the types of recipes that we need to get rid of, that we need to declutter, that we need to recycle or take to the trash, because we will never work for them. So that's a really good place to start, is cleaning out your recipes. The next point that I'd really love to make and have you consider is what's missing from your recipe box or recipe binder or online recipe organizer. Do you need more healthy side dishes? Do you need more main dishes? I am super guilty of having tons and tons of dessert recipes and then not enough, main dishes or side dishes or salads. And so we need to take stock of what kind of recipes we have right now and then figure out what we can add in that would make our recipe collection more balanced. Another thing that you can think about when you're taking stock of your recipes is, what kind of recipes do you need to revamp? I mean, are there recipes that you've loved to cook from, but they're not super healthy? Are there substitutions that you can make in those recipes and you could rewrite the recipe card so it makes more sense and it's healthier for you? That is a good thing to do when you're cleaning out your recipes and figuring out what's missing in your recipe collection. The next thing we want to do, and you can write your thoughts down here under choose a method. We want to figure out how we want to organize our recipes. Some suggestions that I have, we can do recipe cards in a recipe box. They're like 3x5 index cards or a little bigger index cards, and you put them in a box. We can do a digital recipe collection, whether that's just in like a Google document, or I know that there's tons of apps on our phones and online that you can use to organize all of your recipes digitally and store them on a computer or an iPad, something like that. You could do a spiral bound notebook and just keep all your recipes divided in different sections of the notebook. You could do a 3-ring binder. You could use Pinterest. You could use a combination of everything. Maybe not everything, but a combination of a few things so you don't get overwhelmed. But you could even put like recipe cards in like a 3x5 sheet protector in a binder, something like that. Get creative and make sure it is a method that you will really like to use, one that fits your personality, one that fits how you move about in your kitchen and how you like to cook. Make it easy and fun for you. The next thing you're going to want to do is choose your categories. So how will you organize your recipes within your method? Are you going to do it by like main course, side dish, desserts? Would you like to do it by ingredient? Maybe you do like meat dishes, vegetable dishes, fruit dishes. I've seen people do that before too. Or even do you want to do it by meal, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, midnight snack, that kind of thing. Lori says she sticks to 3x5 cards and transfers online recipe to a cards once they succeed. Yes, that is an awesome idea. Becca says, yum, dark chocolate. I like dark chocolate too. Okay, so choose your method, and then you can write your categories, how you organize your categories, maybe at the bottom of this page. I'm going to stop sharing my screen like this for a minute. Okay, I want to show you guys what I'm going to do. This is a hand-bound book that my sister-in-law made me. She's really great at making books, and I have started to write down recipes that I just love and that I make frequently. So it's maybe like once a week, twice a week, every other week. The ones that I go to time and time again, I like to have them in this format because I can just like pull them out quickly, put them away. I don't have to like flip through a ton of recipes to find what I'm looking for. So I think this is the method that I'm going to go to. Right now, I don't have sections in this book for like main dishes, side dishes, that kind of thing. So I think I would like to start organizing them that way so they're more organized. And I think when I print something off, this is a recipe for Indian rice. It is delicious. If I haven't tried a recipe, I'd like to put it in the beginning of the book. And then as soon as I've tried it, I'll either move it into this book, handwritten, if I'm going to use it frequently or not. Then I will put it in this recipe box. I got this recipe box for Christmas, and I just love it. It's by Rifle Paper Company. That might be backwards, but I just really love what Anna Bond does with her artwork. And I think the box kind of makes me think of like a treasure box. And that's just something I'm sentimental about, I think. And I'm looking forward to filling out these recipe cards for recipes that I might not use all the time, but that are important to me and that I want to keep. Lori says, my husband chuckles at me when I print recipes. Mine too. All right. Let's go back to the workbook. I'm going to go to page 5. All right. So one of the things that we need to be aware of when we're organizing our recipes is that it is a process and it is cyclical. It's not just clean everything out, I'm done forever, I can just work from these 20 recipes. No, there is a process, and it begins with like collecting your recipes and using them and organizing them and then cooking from them and cleaning out what's not working and figuring out what's missing and then collecting what you're missing. So it's just this cycle. And if you can think of it like that, then this recipe organization and this process can stay fresh, and your recipes will stay fresh, and the heart of your home, your kitchen, it will stay fresh because you are trying different things and cleaning out old things that don't work. So, oh, Lori says, I'm always afraid as soon as I get rid of a recipe, I'll want to make it. Lori, maybe you should put those recipes in another binder, like the I'm sort of getting rid of this binder, and then you can just keep that in a separate place that you don't have to look at that often. So if you do want to cook them again, you'll have them. All right, so I've left some space here to let you write what kind of process, cyclical process that you want to follow, because yours might be a little different than mine. But just keep in mind that it is a process and it should be fun. All right, let's go to being selective at the bottom of this page. How will you commit to keeping your system uncluttered? So before you print or pin or photocopy a recipe, get realistic with yourself. What are the chances that you're actually going to make that recipe? If it's 50%, maybe you don't print it. If it's 2%, don't print it at all. Just think about ways that you'll commit to keeping the system uncluttered. Another thing that I like to be selective on is sometimes I'll get a recipe book and I make the same 3 recipes out of it after looking through the whole thing. You know, I only find 3 that I like, and I'll tag them with little flags and I cook from that book. But the thing is, it's taking up space on my bookshelf. So instead of keeping it, I would write those 3 recipes down that I love from that book and then pass that book on to a friend or to donate it so that my recipe collection stays uncluttered. All right, let's move to page 6. All right, I want to give you some tips for like using your system and working your process and using those recipes. So think about now that you've organized your recipes, and maybe you haven't done it today, but in the future, after you've organized your recipes, you're going to want to use them. Have a someday pile, but make a commitment, and it can be personal to you. How will you work on that someday pile? Are you going to work one new recipe into your cooking routine each week? Maybe twice a week? Are you going to invite your friends over maybe once a month and have like a cooking party and you try 4 or 5 new recipes? Be sure you're always working on that someday recipe pile so that it doesn't stockpile and then you have 40 recipes that you might make someday, because that's just clutter. So figure out how you want to work through that. Okay, key codes. I have this cookbook. It's called The Joy of Cooking, and it's a pretty popular cookbook. And I do use a lot of recipes out of it. And instead of transferring those into my recipe box, I think I'd rather just make a key code list in the beginning of the recipe book. So on a blank page in the beginning of the cookbook, I could say, okay, page number 10 is cornbread. Page number 79 is pie dough. Page number 800 is muffins. That way I can just look at the cover of the book and then turn right to the page number of the recipe that I want to make. And that will help me use my recipes well. Okay, Pinterest tip. This comes from my friend Katie. I went to high school with her, and I love what she does. I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to try this. So she has a Pinterest board with maybe like 100 pins of recipes, dinner recipes. And then she has another board that says dinner this week board. And so what she will do is pin a recipe from her original dinner recipe board over to the dinner this week board. And so when she wants to make dinner that week, she just goes to dinner this week board and she knows exactly what recipes she's going to cook. That is so brilliant and I love it. And I'm going to start using that. Another thing is that recipe box or binder, if you're using that system to organize your recipes, you could basically use that same Pinterest tip. So if you have a recipe box with like main dishes, desserts, and side dishes, you could pull 5 to 10 recipes that you wanted to use each week, put them in a pile on your counter, and then refile them after you're done. You could do the same with a binder. It's just all about making those recipes work for you instead of being like anxious and frustrated that you have to sort through your recipes and you don't know what to make. Make that choice ahead of time and then cook through them throughout the week. This last little tip, how I'll make this fun, I want you to write your own tip. How will you make this process fun? How will you make finding new recipes that you love super fun? How will you catalog your recipes right away? What would that look like if it was fun for you? And this next page is brainstorm. Feel free to write any more thoughts or tips that you have from this workshop or ones that you come up with on your own afterwards. And I just want to encourage you to form a habit of organizing your recipes that works for you. And as you're organizing your recipes, ooh, Michaela says background music. Wine will make it fun. You guys are awesome. You make me laugh. Yeah, you don't have to organize all of your recipes in one sitting. I feel like mine will probably take a while. So I'm just going to commit to working on it in a way that makes sense for me. And I would encourage you to do the same. Maybe it's a Saturday project. Maybe you love working on something in one sitting and getting it done. Maybe it's clean out your recipes one day, organize them the next day, and then figure out how you want to cook from them the next day. Ooh, Amber says she has her kids rate recipes. That's fun too. All right, I am going to turn the chat box around. There we go. All right, so I hope that this information has been helpful to you and that it is supporting you in organizing your recipes so you can have a healthier year and a more fellowship-rich year, and that you can create a recipe collection that is a living thing that helps you feed your family well and nourish yourself and your family around the table. So if you guys have any questions, it is 5 o'clock. So we are at the half-hour mark, but I'll be around a little bit in the chat box, and we can talk about more recipes. The chat box over there, that's why I'm looking. So we can talk about more recipes or questions you have about organizing. So that will be great. And I just wanted to let you know, while I'm waiting for some questions to come in, that next month I'm really hoping to put together a sunshine box. It will be a box, a Kitchen Fellowship box that has a variety of items to help you overcome the winter blues if you're facing the winter blues. I know a lot of my friends seem to face hard times in the winter, and I just want to help you overcome that with a Kitchen Fellowship box full of goodies to help you do that. And then I'm working with my friend Merritt. She and I are collaborating on a gratitude journal and coloring pages called What's Not to Love, and that is coming out in February, and we're really excited about that. And then I want to host another workshop, and I'm thinking pantry organization and menu planning. So once we have all of these like recipes organized, can we move over into organizing our pantries and our menus and how we cook each week? So that's what's coming up in February so far. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, let's look at the chat box. Julie says, several of your children have requested that you please organize your recipes and print them so they can each have a set. That is a great goal. Christmas gifts, yes. Amber, thanks for coming to the workshop. I know you have to run. Lori says, your mother-in-law got you a copy of her favorite recipe book and made notes about which ones were their family favorites. I don't make a lot of them, but I hate to get rid of this book. But I don't love it or need it. I would say get rid of it. Write down a few recipes that are from the book that might be important, but get rid of it. There's no use in hanging on to things. Thanks, Michaela. Or maybe it's Michaela. Is that you, Michaela? Gratitude journal. Yeah, we're excited about that. Merritt says she loves the pantry organization idea. Yes. She set a goal for January to spend $100 or less on groceries instead and cook from the pantry. I think I'm going to make it to the 31st and still be under budget. That is awesome. Lori, yeah, maybe you do need permission. If there's stories that are tied to those recipes that you could write down and maybe like save those recipe stories in a special spot, maybe that would be important to you. Julia says, are there any other family members that might want the collection? Maybe a cousin or something would like it. That's a good idea. You guys are awesome at helping each other out. All right, any other final questions before we wrap up today? You're welcome, Lori. You're welcome for the inspiration. I'm glad you ladies could be here today. And guys, if there are any guys watching. All right, looks like that's it. And I am happy that you came, and I'm grateful for you. And send me an email at alyssa@kitchenfellowship.com if you have any further questions. And oh, Julia asked if this is recorded. Yep, it's recorded. You can find the link online. I'll put it on Facebook, and I will email it out to you guys. So hopefully you guys have an excellent night, and I'll be thinking about you guys. Bye.